Networking around Croydon. First of all, the reason I call it networking around Croydon and not networking in Croydon is that in the CR postcode, there are actually not that number of networking events. But if you go slightly off in a different direction, Crystal Palace, maybe the top of the RH postcode, maybe go to maybe Sutton, that way, Bromley the other way, there's lots and lots and lots. So anybody in that area would maybe go from here to Bromley for a network group or go sideways for that. If you went another 5 miles outside that, there's dozens and dozens. So that was the background to the networking around Croydon. Qualifications for me to comment on this is that, I mean, basically I've been running my own network group for about 5 years, and that started because I owned pubs for a while, bought pubs and sold them and whatever. And a networking event was just a way of getting people in the pub, because I had my own car park, my coffee machine, what have you. So I started this thing called First Friday, and people would then come into the pub. And when I sold the business 2 years ago, said, well, we keep on running it, and the people who then own the pub said, we're running in the pub, but if you're in the pub business and you sell, you never go back, by the way. Because if you go back on Friday evening, you will see 7 people who you barred. Okay? So I then took another pub, started there, and we said, well, we'll keep on going and providing people turn up. And we ran to the Gypsy Moth down in from up the road here for a while, getting bigger, then moved it in here, and really, as I said earlier on, in January and February, we had over 40 people turning up. So if you're looking for good contact, very informal, no booking, no registration, no cost, people just turn up. So, done that. Over the period of time, I've been involved with the BNI, I'll tell you these names in a minute, very formal organisation. I was involved in setting up a couple of 4N groups in Croydon, have attended groups like Best of Breakfast, Business Over Breakfast, BOB, CRX, there's lots of them. I've probably been to most of them. Croydon Chamber of Commerce run very good events, become a member of that, they run them here. So really have been involved with most of them. The comments I make, as I emphasise, I'm not saying they're up or down, every networking group is very good, okay? You meet some people of that. And I'll give a comment, one of the best ever networking groups I went to was one called Biscotti, which is quite informal, you just turn up between 10 and 12 in the morning, talk to people and have a coffee, etc. And I would go along maybe mid-morning to have a coffee and support the people running it. And on this particular occasion, I turned up at about 11 o'clock and in the Hallmark Hotel up Purley Way, and there's nobody there. So I thought I got the day wrong. So I said to the guy behind the bar, Scotty said, yeah, but they're all gone because nobody turned up. And so I'm standing here on my own at a network event, nobody there, and the guy at the table over here said, I turned up for it. And I said, we'll have a coffee. So I went and had a coffee with this guy 2 hours later. And we've got a working relationship. So this is a famous one. I'm turning up at a network event, but there's nobody there. And it still worked because you talk to somebody else. So being involved in lots of them, the Croydon Chamber of Commerce. Croydon Chamber of Commerce is part of the London Chamber of Commerce. So I've been to those. So most of them I've been to, and I've just got a personal view. The fact is that everyone is different. And 3 people, if they went to an event, might get something different because of who they are and how they get out of it. As before, if anybody wants just advice or comment, we're very happy to provide that. So the issue is, how do you select the network group you should go to? What's your criteria for that? How often do you go? And a big issue is, how do you evaluate if it's been successful? And I would suggest a very high percentage of the people who turn up at network events do not look back and say, has it worked? I mean, they will have turned up at an event for the last year, turned up every week or every month, and you say, well, did you actually get any business? Possibly no. But actually, it was good for them just to get out and meet some people, so where benefits. But quite often, if people evaluated the network event, they would actually maybe not go to them. So, where's... So, I've not just seen that slide. So, First Friday set up. The Croydon Business Hub, it's like a network event. With everybody's permission, we will exchange the email addresses with the people who are here. If anybody's unhappy with that, then please let us know. At least you know who's been here in the and what they're from, what business they're from. BNI, talk about 4N, Chamber of Commerce. The Doyle Club, that actually is not in Croydon, that actually runs in London. And if somebody here would like a taste of a network event in London, it's free, invitation only, and we provide invitations for that. And Biscotti, what have you. So, going through these very, very quickly, BNI, does anybody not know what BNI is? One or two, good. Okay. BNI is a worldwide organisation. It is unique in the way it handles itself, and it's very formal. If you join a BNI, there's only one person for every trade. They meet for breakfast in the morning, and they exchange referrals. But they've got a culture which says, I'm going to go outside this and try and get third-party referrals and bring them back into the group. And it is, in my opinion, the most successful group doing that. However, if there's any downside to it, it probably costs you £1,000 a year to join. It's £500 or £600 as a membership fee, and your breakfast is 15 quid or whatever every single week. So it'll cost you over 1,000. But actually, if you're getting 2,000 to 3,000 quid's worth of business, that's good investment. So for some people and some businesses, in my opinion, that is the most effective network group around. Okay? For some people and some, it might be web designers or car mechanics or whatever, things which are more local trades or something, websites. 4N is probably as big as, could be wrong, as big as, and I think there's probably 3 BNIs in the Croydon area. And if somebody wants an introduction to BNI, I know people there, and I normally take them to one in Caterham, because it's probably big in Sullivan, what have you. 4N took some of the BNI principles, I think, and have changed around. They meet every 2 weeks. You could have 2 or 3 people from the one trade at an event. It's more friendly. You do get time to meet more people on a one-to-one basis. But also with 4N, as maybe with BNI, the back office is enormous. You've actually got information about people all over the country. Also with 4N, if you're a member here and you say, well, actually, in the Croydon, I actually want to go to the Bromley event and meet new people 2 weeks from now, you just click on to Bromley and you literally turn up in Bromley or wherever you want to go to. Now, that's fine for some businesses. If you're a web designer, possibly no point in doing that, because when you turn up there, there's going to be 2 web designers who already live in the blooming area and you're nothing special. If, however, you've got a special kind of trade and you suddenly go along and say, hi, I'm doing something, then it's maybe worthwhile. So again, different reason for different going along. Business over breakfast is what it says. You meet business over breakfast. I think there's only one in Croydon, is there? Okay, there's one business. I mean, again, big organisation. It might happen to have a small group here. I think it's about 8 or 10 members. Okay, 10. But it's 10, 12, 15 members. And Heidi kindly invited me along there. And again, you go along to that as I went along as a guest, and you meet some new people. Absolutely fantastic. Very hospitable organisation. Biscotti did run in Croydon in the Hallmark Hotel in Stockton. That was literally informal. You would turn up, it's around between, let's say, 10 and 12 in the morning, and you literally turn up and meet people and have a chat and have a coffee. They didn't used to charge, and then they just charge a few pounds for that. Biscotti in other areas is massive. So if you go to Biscotti in Mayfair, for example, in London, you have 40 people there, big organisation. So it may be stronger in some areas than in others. So I thought it was common. Business Bagel, again, it's just another network group. I really don't know much about it. I think it just started up in the Crystal Palace area. CEP, Croydon Executive, whatever it's called, actually meets in here once a month on a Thursday morning. Good group of people, 30 odd people. If there's a drawback to it, it's the same 30 people who turned up here 2 years ago. Okay? Good guys, you get to know them. But I mean, I was invited along a while ago. So great organisation, great group of people. Again, if you turn up and you're a web designer or something which is quite common, then probably 1 or 2 are already established there. But if you just want to meet some new people, or you've got a one-off business, or you want to make new connections, great group of people. I say they meet in here. Croydon Business Hub, that's, well, welcome to Croydon Business Hub, okay. From the early start, through last year, just to comment on that, with very, very little marketing. We ran sort of about this size every month with speakers, etc., but didn't really grow it with new people. And it was only that this year we decided to grow it, and we extended our mailing list from 700 names, on which we built this on First Friday, up to 4,000 contacts. So if somebody does get involved with the hub, we are promoting to 4,000 companies in the region, including bigger companies. I mean, a percentage of people here are sort of small business or one-on business, but we have an action in place to actually approach bigger companies. So some of you whose market is bigger companies, then hang on in with the hub, because we're going to be active in that area. Croydon Chamber of Commerce, good organisation, not as effective as it can be. They run probably 10 network events a year. You can go along as a guest once or twice. If you become a member, it's about 130, 40, 50 pounds. But the network events are, they'll have 70 or 80 people at an event. You literally turn up in a room, so you can only ever talk to 5 or 10 or something. But if somebody wants to join the Croydon Chamber of Commerce, you should recognise that as a member, there are about 4, 5, 6, 700 members, and you actually have got access to those 700 to say, well, I'm not a fellow member, can we talk, or is there something of interest? Okay? The Croydon Chamber of Commerce is a member of the London Chamber of Commerce. If you're a member of the London Chamber of Commerce, I think Croydon costs 140, £50 something. Remember the London Chamber of Commerce, which costs you a few £100s, you get access to a London Chamber of Commerce, a Docklands Chamber of Commerce, a West London Chamber of Commerce, and the Croydon Chamber of Commerce. So if you really want to make contacts and move up into London, the London Chamber of Commerce is where it's at. And that's such a well-organised organisation. If you join, they actually give you an account manager. So you can actually tip him and he will give you advice in your sector of how to use it. I joined that for 1.5 years, and the problem was I made too many connections. I couldn't follow them up. I just got swamped with the number of people. They're also come from other places, because people join the London Chamber from Guildford and Twickenham, wherever. But so if you're interested in bigger companies and what have you, the London Chamber and then access to Croydon is fantastic. CRX is another Croydon Referral Exchange, another local group. It's been the same for quite a long time. The number. Damals is a success. I have no idea what they do. Okay? It's a women-oriented group somewhere in Croydon, but it's never a group. But I've had people coming to me and saying, I'm interested to join a group, and I'm not sure. And forgive me, it may be a female, and said, well, I'm interested in how to get her. So I will put her in touch with the lady who runs Damals in Distress from London. So you get a bit of warmth, a bit of familiarity, what have you, and so way into that.
Success. Yeah.
Sorry?
That was a success.
Yeah.
You said distress.
So you're listening. Thank you. Okay. Fabulous Woman has now, I don't know whether somebody sort of cried discrimination, but it's now called Fabulous Woman and Marvellous Men. So it's discrimination comes through. First Friday is the one that we run in here. 40 odd people. The thing that's fascinating is a whole group of really established people, but get new people every single month. And you may get 2 or 3 accountants in the room. And so people, when it's a guy called Wayne, a friend of mine, he actually chairs the meeting. And he'll say it actually doesn't matter if you've got 3 accountants in the room or 3 utility warehouse or what have you, because everyone is different. And the fact is, if I'm interested in an accountant, I will relate to your personality or yours. And you should actually try and present yourself. So don't worry if there's other people there. Just be yourself, get to know people, and you will do business. That really is so successful. 40 odd people, the place is full, because everybody's got an opportunity to talk about the business for maybe a minute and a half. And within an hour and a half network time, that's the limitation. It's not restricting people to how long or how short they should talk to. Because we've really reached the maximum of that, we're probably starting another First Friday in Beckenham in a couple of weeks' time, and maybe even in Norbury a couple of weeks after that. They won't all be First Fridays, there'll be a third Friday or fifth Friday or something like that. But really, this is now full, because you can't handle more. First networking. Interesting with some of these things, that arose a number of years ago for people who joined the BNI organisation, but found BNI too autocratic, because they actually have targets for the number of referrals you should bring in. And again, going back to Alan's personalities, there's some people who don't like that. You know, why haven't you brought in 2 referrals this week? And it became the guy who was actually in the chair of the BNI group really was putting pressure on people. And in one score, 10 of them actually got up and said, we're going to do our own event. So they actually set up First Network. If you look at the website, it's the same principles as BNI, but they don't have some of the planning. But again, the thing is, they said, okay, we're going to set up 4 of these, because we're the anti-BNI ones, yes? 3 or 4 years later, there's 1, okay, with the core members. It ain't that easy to build a network group, okay? It's easy to set it up, but getting people to come back all the time is very difficult. And even the BNIs, which has got a fantastic reputation, does anybody here remember BNI? Okay, two of the others in Croydon have actually struggled to get members. Okay? So actually getting people into a network group is not as easy as it may sound, and keeping them coming through.
Going back a slide.
The Federation of Small Business, fantastic UK-wide organisation. I mean, they talk about, we're lobbying governments and activities and what have you, but they do have local things for business. I mean, it costs 140, 50 pounds to be a member, but there's all things, sort of things like insurance and banking and telephone, all sorts of benefits from that as a small business. Really, in the Croydon area, have not been successful. Because they weren't doing any events for anybody. And just in the last couple of months, they've now started doing a number of sort of small workshop kind of network events. But when that gets bigger, it's useful. You can still go to the network events, meet a few new people, and if you say you're a member of the FSB, it's free. Okay? Givers Gain, that's another one, runs over in the Sutton area. Again, it's another group where they exchange referrals. IKEA, has anybody been to IKEA? Okay, IKEA run a big breakfast network on about the third Thursday of the month from 7 in the morning. They will get 120 people applying to attend, and you're given all the names of all the attendees. Typically 80 or 90 will turn up. They call it speed networking. So what actually happens is when you sit at a table, you've got 4 minutes with somebody the lowest, and you move to the next table. So you've got an opportunity to have a one-to-one with 10 to 15 people. Great way of meeting new people. Not for everybody. If you're more interested in bigger companies, it may not be as useful. But in terms of sheer numbers, and when you finish, they give you, again, the addresses, email addresses of everybody who's attended. So you've got 100 email addresses of people who want to network. Very useful. And it's free. And they give you free breakfast, and they give you a £5 IKEA voucher when you go away.
Really?
Which my wife happily collects. I may go 2 out of 3 months. But you just meet people, and in 4 minutes, going on the personality that I'll talk about, within a minute you know what the person on the other side's like. Interesting. Ladies United, that's again, it's the same as the Damsels in Success, small group locally. Omni, that's set up fairly recently, and the guy who set this up, he's taken the best of BNI and 4N, and they've got about 6 or 7 of them out around now.
You miss Mastermind? I'm paying attention.
With Omni, so it's the best of both worlds. I mean, the guy who set it up is a fantastic network guy, but again, struggling. And in some areas, Twickenham, Richmond, whatever, they've got very good groups. In Croydon, they're struggling to get the numbers. And I went along as a guest a while ago. But again, you meet some new people, but difficult to keep getting people for these. I'm going back up to Mastermind, thank you. That's a great network group run by a lady called Jacqueline Kennedy in the Bromley area. Again, it's one person per trade, very, very professional, well worth looking it up. And maybe just go along as a guest. I mean, if you just go online, most of these people can go along and check them out. Haven't missed any more, have I?
Maybe for networking, because you were talking about first network
Okay.
connected to BNI.
See, I passed that one as well.
And then, yeah,
Right, before networking, if anybody's a golfer, guess where this one comes from? They actually meet in the Blooming Golf Club. Okay? Now, that sounds good. So that's like older businessmen who need something to do and want an excuse to go away from their wives and play golf and go to a networking event. No, it's golf first and networking second. And then the last one is South East London Business Network, run by a guy, a very good network called John Copeland. They run quarterly meetings, but it's well worthwhile. I mean, on the thing we send out to you, there'll be a note about that. And in the areas, sort of Bromley area, they run quarterly meetings. I mean, they charge 25 or 30 quid because they give you a meal as well. But it's a very good group. And once you get on their mailing list, it gives you a list of all sorts of networking events around the place. So that's just a quick whiz through. Happy to answer questions about other ones later. Or somebody says, well, where do I start? I want to go out once a week or twice a week. Happy to give you some views on that. But the final thing about this is that networking should be part of a business plan. Right? It should be, well, there's my business plan. This is what I want to do. To get the business, I'm going to do a bit of networking. I'm going to use social media, do whatever. Too many people go to these things and assume that that's it. Right? So it should be, pick some of these, maybe change them, evaluate, etc. But it's an instant way of making new contacts, potentially for free. Okay?